All right, excellent. So we have the record button on. So listen, today's webinar, what I'm going to do today, and we're only going to need like 5 to 10 minutes on this. Okay, so what ended up happening is this, is I ended up getting a cold email. How many of you guys get those every day, especially if you're a decision maker? Probably get tons of them, right? And so I got a cold email the other day, and right out of the gate, I hit the delete button immediately, and it's a similar question that I see people asking a lot in these sessions. And so I figured, you know what, let me just do a webinar, show you a better way. So what we're going to do is this. If you guys are open to it, we're going to talk about cold call sample script to follow, where when the prospect answers the phone and what to say, how to say, or what to say in a voicemail, I should say, and how to use email to get a response. Basically, we wanted to have a script for cold calls, voicemail, and email scripts to get a response and not rejection. So here's what ended up happening. We're talking about how like I said, I just received this cold email the other day, and the question was this: are you interested in adding 6 figures to your business? Now, what is your immediate response if you were on the receiving end of an email and the first question somebody asked you was something similar to this? Use your chat box. Only I can see your responses, by the way. But be honest. Is this a turn on or a turn off? Are you interested in adding 6 figures to your business? Right, you guys would ignore it, turn it off, or probably do what I did, was hit the delete button, right? I mean, this is a really bad sales question, because the obvious answer to any business owner is, yeah, of course I want to add 6 figures. Who doesn't? If you're an individual sales rep and somebody says, don't you want to add 6 figures to your income? I'm like, duh, of course I would. But the question is so off-putting that, and it's so manipulative, it doesn't do what the question is supposed to do, which is to get you to engage and want to go to the next step and start a conversation. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me on that? See, sales questions should be engaging your prospects who want them to get them to want to talk to you. This question creates resistance and distrust right out of the gate. So somebody asked me when I posted this online and LinkedIn, I said, hey, I just got this bad question, and I started with the question was, I was like, oh yeah, what would you have done differently? I was like, you know what? Let me just show you guys. So here we are today, and this is why I did this webinar. So first things first, step one, why would you not call the prospect? If they pre-qualify to be a suspect, why are we not picking up the phone? It's been proven time and time again that calling first with a combination of a voicemail and an email to follow has a much better response than just blasting out a bunch of emails. So why not call them first? You have to understand something. Interruption is absolutely critical to sales success, which, by the way, that statement is the exact opposite of what most of you have been hearing for the past 5 or 10 years with a lot of social media and things of that nature, right? People are saying, well, I want to be respectful, I don't want to interrupt their time, blah, 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 blah. Well, first of all, an email is still an interruption. You just don't feel the pain of the rejection. If you called them and got rejected, you don't feel the pain of them hitting the delete button, right? So you're still trying to interrupt them. But the difference is, if you're saying the same things in email that got you rejected when you were calling them, that's the problem. It's not the fact that you're calling first. Who's with me on that? Does this make sense? All right. So interruption is critical to sales success. Now, so an example for this one person, here's what to say differently. They call, they get me on the phone, they go, hey Michael, it's John with XYZ company. Listen, the reason for my call is I help consulting firms grow their business, and my average client sees a 6-figure increase in the first year. And there's a possibility I might be able to do the same for you or help you get similar results. I would just need to ask you a few quick questions first to be sure. Now let me ask you a question, and listen, be honest with yourselves. If somebody called you and you're a decision maker, you're a consultant, you're a small business, you own your own consulting firm, and somebody calls and says that, or they call and ask you this question, hi, John, would you be interested in adding 6 figures to your business? Which call are you taking? It's a rhetorical question. Do you see how this is much better? See, the biggest pet peeve I have is people are these sales gurus are telling salespeople who are trying to make a living at selling that the phone is bad, email is good, and you need both. But if the message, whether it's a phone or email, is the real problem, you can send all the emails you want, and you're still not going to get the results that you're after. So you really have to fix the message. And if I'm a suspect to this person, where since I own a consulting firm, they truly do have a process or information that can help me grow, why not say, listen, the reason for my call, I help consulting firms grow their business, and my average client sees a six-figure increase in the first year. There's a possibility I might be able to help do the same, but I would need to ask you a few quick questions first to be sure. And then all of a sudden, if that happens, now we have a conversation. Does this make sense? You guys good? All right. Yeah? All right. So now watch this. So the next question I got was, well, what if I got voicemail? If I call and I get voicemail? Easy peasy, baby. This is why, see, I don't want you to have a sales script. I want you to have a sales playbook. And so you have to be prepared ahead of time. So if you go ahead and you get the, you call and you get voicemail, you want to be prepared for it, where you simply say, hi, John, this is Michael Padone with XYZ company. Listen, the reason for my call, I help consulting firms grow their business. My average client sees a six-figure increase in the first year, and there is a possibility I might be able to help you see similar results, but I would need to ask you a few questions first to be sure. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm about to send you an email regarding this, and look, if you'd like to know more, and you can simply respond to the email or call me at, and then you leave your name and number twice. Well, nobody ever calls me back. Well, maybe they don't call you back because you say something stupid like, one, you don't give any information, you make it too mysterious, or two, you over-explain a situation and about what you do rather what's in it for them. Does that make sense? You got to have a message that'll spark that interest, just to simply pique their interest enough to want to pick up the phone and reach back out to you, or to be willing to take your call the next time you reach out to them. Good? So far, is this helpful so far? So far, so good? Making sense here? All right, excellent. Okay, so this is the last thing, because somebody said, well, let me ask this, should I still send an email then? Absolutely. When I call, if I don't get the prospect on the phone, I get voicemail. First of all, I love getting voicemail, right? Because if I leave 10 voicemails in a day, I'm going to get anywhere from 1 to 3 people to call me back, and those are the people I want to speak to anyway, because timing must have been right because of my message hit the mark. So with that being said, when I call and I get voicemail, I'll leave my message, but I already have an email ready to go, and it simply says this: hey, John, I just left you a voicemail regarding how I help consulting firms grow their business, and my average client sees a six-figure increase in the first year. There's a possibility I might be able to help you get similar results. I just need to ask you a few questions first to be sure. If timing is right and you'd like to know more, you can respond to this email or call me at, and then I leave my number. Make sense? It's that simple, guys. All right. So with that being said, I knew this was going to be a quick webinar. I'm going to take some of your questions. So one of the questions came, do you say your last name? I always do and think it's more professional, but have seen arguments for not leaving it. There's no, Jen, there's no right or wrong answer to this, right? There really isn't. It's more of let me just put it this way. You're leaving or not leaving or saying your last name is not going to make or break the deal. It's the what's in it for them message. So what I would say is for you to do what's most comfortable for you. Does that make sense? Cool? All right. So any other questions, you can go ahead and submit. All right, so we got one more. Do you leave your name number at the start of the voicemail or at the end? Leaving your name and number at the start of the voicemail is such a manipulative thing. I delete people as soon as they do that. You have to understand something. If you're calling into wanting to speak to a decision maker, most decision makers are going to be type A personalities. Is that a fair statement or no? Not all, but a lot of them are going to be, correct? They're in a leadership position. They make quick business decisions. They don't like to be manipulated, and they want to get to the bottom line very quickly. At least that's what I have found in my experience. Why would I leave the number first if they don't even know what the call's about? My method is to pique their interest, right? I want to pique their interest first to get them to where they want to have that conversation, and then I leave my name and number twice. If you've never taken my free voicemail strategies webinar, online. There's a link right on the website. If you go to free trial, I think it says, or try a free class. It's a 20-minute webinar on all about voicemail strategies. Okay, very similar to this, but because everything's hand in hand. But that might help you out as well. All right. All right. Next question is, will we get a copy of this webinar? Yeah, I think we're going to make it public, right? So we'll make it public for people to access it, so they can go back and rewatch it again or share it, etc. Sure. All right. One more question I see, and again, if you have another one, like I said, I had this scheduled for till 11:15 before I have to do something else. So I got a few minutes if you have more questions. But Catherine's asking, should I use the word advertising in my message? I would have to know more about what it is, Catherine, that you actually sell and who your target audience is. But what I would do is I would use, the reason why I'm sharing this stuff with you is look at the formula I'm using to craft that message. And there's more than one way to do this. I have a whole bunch of different templates that I use depending on the situation. But it depends on the word advertising and how it's being used. I like to create something that has more of a meaning of what's in it for them. For example, when I call into a sales director, I don't say I'm calling, I provide sales training. No, I call and say, listen, Catherine, the reason for my call is I specialize in helping inside sales teams overcome call reluctance, and there's a possibility I might be able to help your team too. I just need to ask you a few quick questions first. Now, if I'm speaking to a sales director and they have probably more than 2 sales reps, chances are one of them is suffering from call reluctance, which is costing them money. Chances are they're going to want to have a conversation with me. And if I got their voicemail, I'd say the same thing. And then I would also send that email out. Make sense? So if the word advertising is a hot button issue, great. But I have a feeling it's probably advertising is the solution. If that's the case, what's the problem? See, for me, sales training is a solution, but what's the problem? Call reluctance is one, not being able to get decision makers on the phone, nobody calling them back. So those are the things I solve. So I'll bring that up, and if that resonates with them, they reach back out. Now we can have a conversation, see if we can help. Cool? All right. Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right. Listen, guys, this is probably the shortest webinar I've ever done. I just felt, if I'm going to go ahead and say something online, like in LinkedIn, and then I never, by the way, I never said who the person was. I kept their identity privately because, listen, we all make sales mistakes. It's not about trashing somebody. It was correcting a common problem. So when I saw this, that's why I said, you know what? I'm not just going to say, what's wrong with it. Let me offer some suggestions on how to make it right. Fair enough? If you have any other questions, you can reach out to us at admin@salesbuzz.com. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of it, even though it was only a quick webinar. All right. Excellent. You're welcome. All right. Take care. Happy selling. Bye-bye.